His stable's in the way.
Hello, Kimosabi. I am Tonto.
Anyways, hello everybody. I am Gamemaster 909, back with more of Disney Infinity. Today I'm here in the toy box mode as Tonto from the Lone Ranger, along with another vehicle they could get via a power disc. One of the rare power discs featured in the second wave of power discs released in November 2013, the Electric Mayhem Bus, straight out of the Muppet movie from 1979. And I'm pretty sure I don't think the design of the bus itself is one-to-one with how it is in the movie, but it's pretty darn close if you pay attention to all the little details, like where the instruments are and the colors of everything, like the wheels and such. Now enemies are spawning. Great, because I have an enemy creator in here. But can we actually do the some of the vehicle challenges feats that we have? Can we do those with a ground vehicle? It's probably more difficult because this is specifically structured around riding a horse. But I don't think it's impossible. Like, check this out. Boom. Well, okay, maybe it is. But what we do have is, first of all, the horn. That's what the horn sounds like. And if you have the music turned on, it plays, I think, I don't know if it's an original tune, I'll have to check, but it's one that, like, is performed by the Electric Mayhem themselves. It's pretty cool. Or at least something that sounds like it. I'm pretty sure you can even hear Animal in the background and everything. It's pretty crazy. And if it's not detected by the YouTube copyright system, I might actually play it in the background as we speak. Because, yeah, my editing wizardry is able to do that. Boom. Almost at level 6 with Tonto. Isn't that exciting? Should probably get some turbos in here because of, like I said, some of the feats that we still have to do. Because I believe we have 12 feats left. Or at least for now. There might be a Game Maker Extraordinaire too. Okay, I'm going to check real quick. And again, because of my editing wizardry, you could probably cut right back to where I find out. Okay, thank God, no there isn't. However, there is a Creator Extraordinaire too, and I'll get to that later. Should be interesting. Boost in the ground vehicle 500 times, what we're trying to do right now, along with Sunday Driver 2. Probably spawn some bashables out here as well. But first, so probably go ahead and check out Tonto's Toy Box Adventure, Tonto's Flight. Race through the desert with the Crow Wing Pack, gathering collectibles before time runs out. Alright, so we get a different kind of collector's challenge, kind of like the ones we saw in the Lone Ranger playset, to where you would use the Crow Wing Pack to fly into collectibles. Or orbs, as I like to call them. I always liked this image that it showed of Syndrome with the Omnidroid in the background. I always thought it looked like he was dancing or something.
Gather as many collectibles as you can before time runs out.
Alright. So we have this huge environment to work with. We're going to see the different colored orbs that we can collect. Gather as many collectibles as possible before time runs out. We need 35 points to get gold. Doesn't sound too bad. We also have the Toy Box Blaster for some reason. Not sure why. But, or Crow Feather Pack, as that text box showed. Weird. Anyways, so yeah, the red orbs that fly in the air give you 3 points. The orange ones give you 2 points, and the yellow ones give you 1 point. Pretty standard rule set for how orbs work throughout most of the game. So yeah, pretty standard stuff. There's even some caves we can explore. How fun is that? And you can travel on the ground if you want, however, a lot of the orbs require you to actually fly. And you can't even use the blaster to collect orbs from far away. There's no point in the blaster. It's probably for multiplayer so that you could sabotage your friends and prevent them from collecting certain orbs. That's the only reason why I can think of having, like, a good use of having the toy box blaster here. Because otherwise it seems to be pretty pointless. Or it could be the exact opposite, to prevent people from using certain ranged attacks, like Elastigirl's cling ability, where she could cling on the walls and stuff. Maybe it's to prevent people from doing stuff like that, because that kind of would make the adventure a little easier and give certain players an advantage. That's probably why, if I were to guess. Oh, there's a red orb over there. So yeah, we still have 3 minutes left. You're given a lot of time, which is fair because of how slow the Crow Wing Pack kind of is in terms of actually navigating these areas. Because look at it. Look at the flight speed here. It's not very fast. So you're going to need a lot of time. It is a little lenient though, you know. We already have silver and we have 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. A little generous, if I were to say. We even have some sparks down here. Never mind. There we go. Just, trying to think. Trying to do some math here. At most 3 red orbs. Or if we collect a couple more, we'll probably only need 1 or 2 actually. I guess you're also given a lot of time because of noticing, or if you notice, how spread out most of the orbs are. Let's look at them. The closest one is apparently all the way over there. Or there's a red orb all the way over there. Actually, there's multiple in the sky. So that's nice. We have a bunch of time to grab them. We probably have enough time to just go ahead and get some sparks while we're up here. There we go. Alright, let's get this orb along with this one over here. Boom! We got gold. Simple as that. So yeah, I believe after you collect a certain amount of orbs, more will appear in locations that I believe they spawned before. So they don't spawn all over the map. I believe they have specific locations where they will always spawn. So yeah, after a while it can be easy to memorize exactly where orbs will spawn, so you can keep track of that to kind of know where you're going. But you're also given so much time that it doesn't really matter. You could probably just guess your way through it and still have plenty of time. By the way, leveled up. Tonto is now at level 6. They could have picked another kind of weapon for this. Does it really have to be the Toy Box Blaster? I mean, I know that there are no tools themed around the Lone Ranger playset. None. I've checked. It's really weird. They couldn't even have, the Tomahawk and the 6-shooter be weapons for everyone. I think I explained this before, or, talked about this before. Alright, anyways, yeah. Got 46 points when we only needed 35. And we collected 198 sparks from those capsules. So, yeah, pretty cool. So yeah, another pretty simple toy box adventure. I should probably actually have a spawn point in this world. with the Disney Infinity Hub. But where to place it? How about right over here? That works. I'm sure any second now the enemy spawner or enemy creator. I always call it the enemy spawner, even though it's called the enemy creator. I thought the enemy spawner was always a more appropriate title. It's weird because there's the enemy creator and the enemy generator, which is a creativity toy. They are two completely different toys that have different functions, yet they have eerily similar titles. It's weird. There we go. I didn't have to press it myself. But yeah, let's see. I need the Sunday driver feat, I believe. And also the sharpshooter 2, which requires you to shoot 5,000 objects. Actually, the machine gun might be ideal for this. Judging by what I theorized before about how each individual shot gives you more, like, or counts as more objects according to the feat, that might mean that weaker weapons might actually be ideal for the feat. Because using a weapon that takes more shots to defeat an enemy would probably be better. It might get you the feat a lot quicker. Or at least that's what I theorized. You know? It's just a theory. A Disney Infinity theory. Thanks for watching. Not really, the video's not over yet. But thank you for watching. It's just, don't take that as a sign of this video being over. Look at that. I hope the Electric Mayhem likes it, like, approves of this. Using their bus as a way to defeat enemies as Johnny Depp. They probably approve of it, knowing them. And that wasn't enough. There we go. Although, who knows if it even counts as individual object. I mean, again, I don't know. But judging by what I've seen before, it might actually. Which one of the Oogie's boys is that? Is that Locke? I think they have individual names, right? Like Shock, Lock, and Jaw, or something like that. Let's find out. Lock, Shock, and Barrel. That's what it is. Lock, Shock, and Barrel. And this one is Lock. Okay, so I was pretty close. Okay. Alright, there goes Lock. I can't think of any other productive ways of actually getting all these different feats done. I'm sorry. It takes a long time, but like, what else am I gonna do, you know? How else am I gonna get Sunday Driver? I mean, using a Cars character would probably be more ideal, but yeah, I gotta get footage of Tonto somehow. In the toy box mode, you know. You know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put down a power disc combo so that we can get a whole bunch of turbos or whatever. The turbo charge, I think is the name of the combo. There we go. Sorry about that. I just got a message from people. But, yeah, with those power discs might help us out. Even if Scrooge's Lucky Dime might not, because, you know, its bonus is for economy. Which, oh, well, doesn't really help us out a lot in the toy box mode. Alright, Look Ma No Road 2. Apparently I've spent 20 minutes in the air. Very interesting. Let's do some more. Really? 20 minutes in the air? That's hard to believe. It's also kind of harder to believe that that's the first kind of notification that shows up for us during this session. One that I definitely did not expect. Alright, I think another idea I had was to place even more hop over gates. Because doing this would have it count as 3 objects as opposed to 1. Even though it might be harder to jump over, with enough momentum we might be able to do it. There we go. It's a lot of hop over gates. Hope it's worth it. Okay. Should probably get back to the bus. I don't know why my mind just blanked there. For this now, we might get to see what, you know, throwing the tomahawk looks like on certain enemies, like that guy. Here's our bus. Okay, perfect. Yeah, look at that. Just hopping over 3 objects, which we're gonna need to hop over like 1,000 of them with the ground vehicle. Dear Lord. And I still need to jump over enough objects with the mount. So we're probably gonna need to do that sometime soon. Man, it really thinks that players are gonna love vehicles in this game. I mean, to be fair, I do. I like the vehicles in this game, especially, you know, racing and stuff. It especially gets good in later ones, but like, definitely one of the stronger aspects of this game. I guess because Avalanche had worked on solely a racing game before, so they've had racing game experience, so it makes sense why they'd be so good at it. Let's see, is it going to show me my progress yet? I'm also trying to think, like, how long are you in the air whenever you jump? Because that might factor into how I've been able to get the Look Ma No Road, or at least get close to the Look Ma No Road feat being done. I think it's like a full second, so let's see, 30 minutes. 30 minutes, I believe, is 1,800 seconds. So by that logic, we would have to do 1,800 jumps, at least, or at most, yeah, if we want to get the Look Ma No Road feat. could try and think about my experience with the Muppets. Because I don't think Muppets is a franchise I really grew up with that much. Mainly because I kind of grew up in that weird era where the Muppets weren't really that relevant, you know? This was right after Disney had bought out the Muppet, like, IP. Because the Jim Henson Company sold off their IPs to different companies. Because Sesame Street was sold off to Warner Brothers. I believe Fraggle Rock was sold off to Sony. And Muppets were sold off to the Walt Disney Company. Which, fun fact, the acquisition or the partnership, or the acquisition, either way, it was going to happen way sooner. Back when Jim Henson was still alive, actually. He had plans to partner up with Disney, but it never happened. It wasn't until, I think, 2004 that Disney would acquire the Muppets. So yeah, afterwards, they didn't really do too much with them. I mean, it was also kind of a sign that that Jim Henson was kind of buddy-buddy with Disney because of stuff like Muppet Vision 3D, which was a attraction at Disney parks, such as, I think it was in Disneyland. I know it was at Walt Disney World in Orlando, but I think it was at Disneyland at one point. And yeah, there's also plenty of promotional material made of, like, I think Michael Eisner alongside Muppet mascots, them announcing Disney's deal with Jim Henson. It was weird, but this was after all that, you know? And it seemed like at first Disney didn't really know what to do with the Muppets. It's weird. Because trying to think what all there was, I don't think there was that much. I don't even think there were any, like, Muppet shows coming out. I mean, I think there were, like, reruns on Disney Channel of the Muppet Show, but that was about it. Along with, I think, Muppets Tonight, which is, like, an attempt to revive the Muppet Show in, I think, the 90s. With mixed results. I also don't think there were any, like, Muppet movies coming out. It wasn't until 2011 when they actually revived, kind of. They made a new Muppet movie just called The Muppets in 2011. It was pretty much kind of a getting the band back together kind of film, where all the Muppets had, like, disbanded or whatever, and they came back together for one last show or whatever. It was a good film, actually. I think it starred Jason Segel, I think. And, yeah, it was definitely... It might have been what really made me aware of the Muppets, because there we go, now the power disc works. I don't know if I was before, but that movie definitely made me more than aware of who the Muppets were. And like I said, it probably did for a lot of kids, because I think it was what introduced a lot of like a new generation to the Muppets, because not a lot happened with them in the 2000s at all. I think it was like one or two direct-to-home video films, but like that's about it. It was really weird. Dang it. That works. I mean, of course I knew about Sesame Street as a kid, you know, Jim Henson's other big property. Arguably even bigger than the Muppets. But it's up for debate. I definitely watched a lot of, I don't even know if I watched a lot of Sesame Street on TV. I think it was just I had some of the specials on DVD. So I think, what was it? I think I had a weird, well, I don't even know if you'd call it weird, but it was like one of the anniversary specials that they had called Elmo Palooza. I believe it was a 30th anniversary special for the show. I had that on DVD. And I think it was like just kind of a celebration of, like I said, the 30th anniversary of Sesame Street. I think it was around 1999. And I had it on DVD, funnily enough, because I think it was like a really early DVD. I think one of the earliest DVDs I have, because I think it was from like 98, just a couple years after DVD became a format, period. I think it was before DVD really became the... Okay, we have driven 400 kilometers. Good to know. All right, I'm getting somewhere. I'm getting somewhere. But anyways. Yeah, I had that on DVD, which is funny because, like I said, it's probably one of the earliest DVDs I know of owning, of it coming out in 99. I looked into it recently. It's a pretty interesting special. They had a bunch of celebrities on there. I think the freaking Mighty Mighty Boss Tones were on there or something. And I think Rosie O'Donnell, you know, pretty much your typical 1999 stuff. A ska punk group and Rosie O'Donnell. It doesn't get any more 1999 than that. But I forget who all else was in there. I might look it up here in a bit. Or right now. Maybe I am capable of playing this game one-handed again. That's it. I'm doing it. I'm going to use my chin to turn. Okay. In Vogue was on the special. Gloria Estefan was on there. Freaking Kenny Loggins was on there. And freaking Jimmy Buffett. Yeah, they were all on there. Pretty cool that they were all involved in a Sesame Street special. I mean, it shouldn't come off as too much of a surprise. I mean, Sesame Street has celebrity guest stars all the time. But still, the freaking Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. You can't argue with that. They're cool. But yeah, that was probably one of my first exposures to Jim Henson as a whole. Owning that as a kid. Was that it in terms of Jim Henson stuff that I owned on DVD? Or I don't even think I had anything on VHS. I think it might have been. Yeah, I think that was it. Oh, you know what? There was something I watched on TV based on Sesame Street, but it wasn't the show itself, but rather it's I don't even know if I had it, like, if I watched it on TV or if I had it on DVD or something. It was the 1985 Sesame Street movie, Follow That Bird. Remember that one? I actually remember it being pretty decent, and from what I've heard, it's actually not a bad movie. But it's one I definitely remember watching a lot as a kid. I might try revisiting it. Although, I think I planned on revisiting it recently, because I think the film was on HBO Max, but of course, it's not anymore, thanks Discovery. Them freaking removing a whole bunch of content on there. That was such a dumb decision. Okay, there we go. Okay, I got worried sick for a second. I thought the game froze. Is it aiming at the freaking gate? Really, game? I thought you knew better than this. God, why do there have to be so many damn enemies? I hate this. Great. I don't think there ever have been this many tank omnidoids when going through this world, but yeah, here we are. And we got another, one of these dudes, the Goobot. I hate these guys. Especially when they spawn in the toy box mode like this, because look at this, they just spawn all these enemies. They do give you a lot of sparks, so that's cool. Because I think even the enemies they spawn give you sparks as well. So isn't that generous? Just 100 more kilometers on the car. I mean, considering how long it took us to run 100 kilometers with the mount, this will probably take us a long, long while. And it might not be worth it. Who knows? It might just give us 200 sparks like the last one did. There we go. Why are there so many freaking Goobots? I guess it only spawns like a couple of enemies at a time, like a couple types of enemies, and it just so happens that one of the ones is just like, you know, the two strongest enemies in the game, or two of the strongest enemies, the Goobot and the tank on the droid. That's probably what it is. I think I talked about this already, but I do remember seeing a lot of marketing for the 2011 Muppets movie. One that I remember specifically was, of course, on Disney Channel, they would have, rather than traditional commercial breaks, they would have a couple sponsors along with either like, they would show either like short films or sometimes, I think, music videos and stuff for some of their, either to promote the celebrities or singers that they had on sitcoms, or I don't know why I called said celebrities, just to promote the music careers of some of their actors that they had on sitcoms, or to promote new movies coming out. Like, one of them being the 2011 Muppets film, where I think they would have what I remember the most is a chorus of the chickens seen in the Muppets. Pretty sure one of them is named Camilla. A chorus of them singing a cover of the CeeLo Green song, Forget You. Which nowadays I find really weird because, you know, with the Muppets being such a, I guess, family-friendly property, it's weird to see them cover a song that's original title was Fuck You, you know? It's either do a cover of that. It's just really, really awkward to see nowadays. I don't think I minded it as a kid because I probably didn't know that as a kid. I just knew about the clean radio edit version of the song called Forget You. And that was the version that they would, like, show in the, I guess, you know, bottom left, where they would show the title, artist, and all that for music videos. They just showed it as, oh, it's a cover of Forget You by CeeLo Green. And so, because of that, I didn't really mind it that much. Alright, we have jumped over 400 objects with the ground vehicle. Just 600 more to go! God. Again, at least it shows that we're making progress with this. I'm doing something right. But God, is it such a hassle. It's such a time-consuming thing. Especially when you're trying to do it all in one fly rather than over the course of playing the game. But I don't have time for that. I got other games to play through. So, like, it's just weird, you know, having to do all this. There we go. Well, you know what? We could probably put some, like, speed boosts on here to help us go a little faster. You know, get more kilometers in a shorter time frame. We'll probably do that. But yeah, as I was saying, that was a song I really enjoyed as a kid. By CeeLo Green, Forget You. Not really knowing what the song's about, I just thought it had a catchy beat. That's probably why it was such a big hit and why it was played all the time on the radio, which is probably where I first heard it. Because keep in mind, this was back when I still actively listened to, like, the pop radio. Also, we have done 400 turbos. Nice! Alright, that's 401 right there. Better keep count at home, kids. It's important. Trust me. Also, what the heck is going on? Why is there... What? I gotta see this. Oh! I forgot there's some terrain right here. Yeah, there's some terrain on the edge. That's probably where some enemies are spawning for whatever reason. I should probably do something about that. Because I think a lot of enemies might spawn there. Or not. I think it was just that one. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if I also caught TV airings of some of the Muppet films as a kid on TV. Like, I think I vaguely remember watching Muppet Treasure Island on TV as a kid, maybe once or twice. It was the one with Tim Curry, I think. Oh yeah, but that was a long, long time ago. I'm probably gonna need to rewatch it. I have rewatched some of the Muppet movies recently. At least the ones that are, you know, on Disney Plus. Not all of them are. Like, some of that weren't distributed by Disney. Yeah, it's another thing. I think some of the early Muppet films, Muppet movies, were actually distributed by Disney. Like, the Muppet movie, The Great Muppet Caper, and I think Muppet's Christmas Carol. I did recently rewatch the Muppet movie and Great Muppet Caper. They hold up really well, actually. They're still really fun films. But, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, not all of them, of course, are on Disney Plus because some of them were distributed by other studios. Like The Muppets Take Manhattan, and I believe, Muppets from Outer Space, which was, I think, the last theatrical Muppet film before the release of the 2011 Muppet. Yeah, there was a 12-year gap between two of the theatrical Muppet movies, because Muppets from Outer Space came out in '99, and apparently no one saw it. I think it came out in theaters, but lost money. And then after that, it wouldn't be until 2011 that we would get another theatrical Muppet movie. I thought there was one more theatrical Muppet film before that, though. Maybe there wasn't. There was definitely TV Muppet movies. Like, I think there was a Wizard of Oz one. yeah, pretty interesting stuff. My Muppet knowledge now is definitely a lot more than it was as a kid. So, yeah, take that as you will. Probably because, again, of how the rights were kind of all over the place, so watching all of it in modern time is kind of difficult. It still is, in some ways, because, like, if you want to watch the Muppet Take Manhattan, you're probably going to have to go out and buy it on DVD or Blu-ray. That's kind of your only option. That's the only way you'll be able to witness the origin of the Muppet Babies. So you know it's a big deal. And also, if you're wondering, no, I never got into the Muppet Babies as a kid. Or Muppet Babies is the name of it. I think I was aware of it, but like, I think I was too young to really know what it was. Because I was definitely not alive when they originally aired on TV, but I don't even know if they aired reruns of it at all. Definitely know it's not on Disney Plus, that's for sure, or any other streaming platform. I don't even know if it might have gotten a DVD release, so I could watch it that way, but I don't know why I would watch Muppet Babies nowadays, especially since I'm not nostalgic for it, but I'm sure there are some people that are. So yeah. And also, my headphones just died, by the way. So I should probably go and charge them right about now. Okay, apparently I was able to go through that. Interesting. Even with these guns, actually the guns on the side don't even have collision detection. Okay then, cool. Also, like the Pizza Planet truck, it's really strange how you kind of ride the top of it rather than the front. That's a little strange. Whatever.
Greetings. I'm glad you have returned.
Alright, I'm back, by the way. Charge my headphones. And, okay, that does say lumber. From the angle I was looking at before, with the logs covering up the E and the R, it just looked like lumb. I don't know. Just thought that was kind of funny. Lumb. Is that a real word? I mean, I'm sure there are some people that have it short for lumber, something like that. I don't know. Maybe. Lumb. Yeah, dude, just here to pick up some lum, you know. I don't know how to think about it. I don't think anyone would call it that. If you were to shorten lumber, you'd probably just say wood. I don't know. Just something to think about, you know. I think the rest of what I really want to do right now is just more mindless driving. Because, I don't know, wouldn't that be cool? I gotta get these feats, man. And I don't know how many people at home would care about it, but I do. Out of here, on the joy. Did I ever talk about this? Whenever I would play this game at my grandparents' house, I guess it's actually something I did pretty often. Just like I hung out with them a lot, you know. I respected my elders, you know. I was a good kid. But yeah, I remember my grandmother would point out that whenever I would say Omnidroid, she always mistook it for me saying Almond Joy, which I could kind of see. Omnidroid and Almond Joy kind of do sound similar. It's kind of funny. And now whenever I see an Almond Joy, that's all I think of. I just think, wow, that sounds a lot like Omnidroid. You know, the thing from The Incredibles that apparently Pixar had to get permission from Lucasfilm in order to say, because I guess Lucasfilm like had the like owned the term droid, I guess, because of the Star Wars movies. I don't think they had to for this game because, you know, I think by this point, Disney, you know, fully owned Lucasfilm, so, like, it doesn't really matter. But back then, back when The Incredibles was first released, they had to get permission from Lucasfilm in order to use the term Omnijoid. It's even mentioned in the film's credits. I think even in, like, the video game's credits as well. Which is kind of funny. Like, not even Pixar was owned by Disney at this point, I don't think. Yeah, because it wasn't until 2005 when Disney acquired Pixar. I think I already talked about it during this playthrough, but yeah. It's kind of funny to think that... I guess you could argue that Disney was always a company that was kind of acquire happy, to where they would always be acquiring stuff. But it wouldn't be anything like I think they acquired ABC, right? In the 80s. But like it wouldn't get super serious until like the 2000s with Pixar and Marvel. Which that's a whole other thing to talk about, which I'll probably talk about next playthrough. Or not the next playthrough, but like if I ever play through Disney Infinity 2.0 edition on this channel, I'll definitely talk about all the stuff between Disney and Marvel. Also because there was kind of a big pause between this recording session and the last, like between my headphones dying and me charging them. I thought of a couple other things about Jim Henson stuff. Was I the only... I couldn't have been the only person, or the only kid that confused Grover and Gonzo. I couldn't have been the only person. I mean, I know they had completely different voices. I think Grover was voiced by Frank Oz. And I forget who voiced Gonzo. But I guess because they were both blue Muppets. And so because of that, as a kid, I always mixed them up. It was like, okay, which one's... And plus, both their names start with G, like, start with a G. So, like, that didn't really help. It's like, between the two blue Muppets, which one's the Grover and then which one's the Gonzo, you know? It's between Gonzo the Great and Super Grover, you know? I don't know. Something I recently realized. That, oh yeah, that was something I thought as a kid. Also, I'm pretty sure there's a Goobot somewhere, isn't there? No, there totally is. I'm pretty sure... Oh, wrong button. Wrong button again. The Goobot is behind here, isn't it? It sure is. And I don't think any other enemies are. Alright, what can I do here? Well, I probably could use the Tomahawk. Because it deals with multiple enemies at once. Like that. Look at that. There we go. We got a whole bunch of sparks, too. Alright, back to our bus. Get out of here. You too. There we go. I literally have nothing to say. Wow, I'm pretty sure just have not talked for the last 5 minutes. Jeez. I don't really know what more to say about... Okay, now all those guys disappeared. Weird. But, I really don't know what more to say about Tonto. Is there anything to say? I mean, I guess I could say I think this is the game that introduced me to the word tomahawk. Because I always thought it was just, you know, an axe. Which I wouldn't be surprised if the word axe I learned from something like Minecraft. Which is also how I learned what a pickaxe was, because I played that game at such a young age that, like, it's introduced me to a lot of real-world things. I wouldn't be surprised if this game did too. I wouldn't be surprised if I could... I know I talked about this before, but I would compare a lot of stuff between this game and Minecraft. I guess because they're both sandbox creation games. So, like, can you really blame me? Alright, now that power is just doing whatever. I don't even remember if I used power discs that often as a kid. I don't think I did. Just because I guess I was, like, too lazy to put, like, just put them on. I know I had some that I would use often. I mean, of course I had some. I would have all these different power discs, although the two I have on I did not own during this game's run. I bought them secondhand. But I guess I never really cared enough to put on circular power discs. I guess I thought the perks that it would give you weren't worth it or something. I don't know. Again, maybe it was probably just laziness. I mean, I made it through the game just fine without them, so I guess people at home will probably do just fine without them too, if you don't have any. It's not a big deal. I think 2.0 edition was actually when I started caring about power discs, because that was when they introduced costume power discs. Yeah, they had different kinds of circular power discs in 2.0 edition. They weren't all just ability discs like they were in this game, but they all would just give you a random ability. 2.0 edition, I think, would have 3 different power disc or circular power disc types. There was team up power discs, where it would, like, be teamed up, or, like, you could call assistance from another character. They were all Marvel ones, but you could call in assistance from other characters, and they'll fight alongside you. Characters like Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier, White Tiger, and I think even, like, Iron Patriot and stuff. And I think Ant-Man as well. Which is funny, because Ant-Man would later be a playable character. There were also event power discs, which would just cause different events to happen. If you, like, charge the power disc enough, you could cause an event to happen that'll damage the enemies around you. Like, I think you could, like, summon Zeus's Thunderbolt from Hercules. I think, like, the freaking Infinity Gauntlet. Cool stuff like that. There were also costume power discs, which probably functioned the most like 1.0 power discs, because they would just give you a random like, stat boost. You know, they might give you more, like, chances for full health, like, for a full health replenish at random, or, like, you know, more damage, stuff like that. But they would also, if you play as a specific character, it would give that character a different costume. And that was what I really like, because I don't know, I really like when they give characters alternate costumes in games. I like just seeing characters different, okay? I like seeing characters in different costumes, which is why I'm surprised I never got into freaking, I don't know, fashion-based games as a kid, like Style Savvy and stuff like that. Well, I could see why I didn't, but like, I'm sure if I picked one up, I probably would have been into it. I don't know. Even if they don't have named characters like these games do. Alright, look, Ma. What, that's the one I got? Really? For 500 sparks? Dang. Before Sunday Driver 2. Wow, really? I guess I did jump a lot, to be fair, during this whole thing. Wow. Spent over 30 minutes in the air in a ground vehicle. I'm impressed. Okay. Well, I guess that cancels, future plans for this series. I was gonna do something that I thought would unlock Lokma no Road 2 easily, but I guess this does the trick too. I guess because I've been trying so hard to jump over a whole bunch of objects. Do I? I still need that turbocharge feat, right? Yeah. Boosted the ground vehicle 500 times. Got it. Which I think I previously made it to 400 turbos before. So we're getting close. But anyways. Yeah, I think some examples was you could get Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy's comic book outfit as opposed to her movie outfit that she has in-game. Or like their default outfit in-game. And I think you could also get like a symbiote costume for Spider-Man. Like a cursed outfit for Jack Sparrow. Yeah, there were even costumes for 1.0 edition characters. I think you even get like Mr. Incredible's classic outfit. It's kind of cool. Definitely the power disc I would look for the most in terms of the circular ones. But of course the hexagonal ones were the ones I was most interested in because they could unlock new toys with the toy box, you know? And new textures. I think I especially liked trying to find the texture ones because, you know, they give you whole skies for your toy box world. It affects the entire thing. It's not just, here's a car. It's, okay, here's a thing you can use to texture an entire toy box world. Well, unfortunately, I don't have too many of the... I have some of the textures, like the texture power disc for 2.0 edition, but not all of them. I guess once I start getting into collecting that, I'll have plenty of them. That's not the case for now. That's something for the future. For now, we just have to drive in a freaking bus as Tonto for 8 hours. Dear God. I know I could probably switch characters, vehicles, and my environments. Dear God. Am I really going to have to look at the desert for the rest of my life? Did I ever talk about this story? Oh, by the way, turbocharged too. I got that feat. That's cool. There we go. You're welcome, Tonto. Level them up to level 7. But anyways, oh my god, it's a pretty funny story that I guess I could talk about while trying to get the Sunday driver feat, which I don't know if I'll be able to. But it'll at least be good knowing that I got the, that I got 2 feats right now, you know. Turbocharged and Lokma no Road too. Alright, thank you, Rapunzel's healing. Thanks for nothing! God! You stupid friggin' goo bots. that spawn a million zillion enemies. Just for me to freaking suffer. There we go. Anyways. Dude, I remember one time playing through one of the, like, online toy box worlds that would be submitted into this game. I think one time I was facing, like, a tank Omnidroid in one of the worlds, and I kept on dying to it, and no joke, I was playing on the Wii U version, by the way, because it kind of has to do with what I'm about to say. I got so mad at the game from dying so many times to a tank Omnidroid. Get this. I threw my Wii U gamepad, I freaking chunked it across my room. Yeah, that's how angry I was. I would do that sometimes back in the day. I try my best not to nowadays for obvious reasons, but back then, I would sometimes throw my video game controllers when I'm in a fit of rage. Thankfully, I don't think I ever broke any because of it. But, like, yeah, it's probably not the best thing to do. Definitely not the safest thing to do. Especially nowadays, with video game controllers being more expensive than ever.